probably
guys, I'm really not sure about internet. I've requested multiple times to the hotel admin, but I would request everyone who is connected through hotel network now, if you can disconnect so that we can have full speed here just for 1 hour. Thank you.
yeah, I'll try to turn my camera off. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Good. All right, so we've been working very hard on version 10, which is the next version of where I am, and we hope to release it pretty soon after the conference. And it was previously called version 9.1, but now we have decided to call it version 10. And I will talk about and show you some of the things in this version. And I hope that you will like it. So, what has been the focus of the new version? As usual, small improvements and bug fixes to make the existing version better and more robust. And we always try to do that every single version that we release. We keep doing small things because they do make a difference. I have the full list of those, and I will show it to you at the end of the session. There are some bigger features as well, but not that many. One of the biggest one is artificial intelligence integration. I believe Kodrin has already shown you some of the features of this artificial intelligence, and I will show you some more. As usual, we focused on the customer feedback and try to do things that you request for and not just any features. So, one of the biggest features of this version is data export and import. And this is data export and import of the operational data. The data that customers create and the data that is stored in the database. So you can easily move your data now from for example, test environment to the production environment, or from the production environment to the test environment. You can add to the existing data or remove the existing data. So you can move data from production to testing, from testing to production, like I said. And you can also change the database, which is extremely handy. It's just a breeze. You export the data from the VRM environment connected to one database, and then you imported it to the VRM environment connected to a different database. For example, from MySQL to SQL Server, or from SQL Server to MySQL, from Derby to MySQL, and so on. And these IDs that are VRM use, and you know the sequences and bus ID gen table that a VRM creates for IDs, they're all taken care of in this feature. And it also keeps track of any potential conflicts and allow you to resolve the conflicts. So I will show you. So here I have version 10, and there's RenFab application, which is Quadrant's application. It's fairly big, and you can see that it only has the production environment, only the current version. If we log into his system, in production mode, sorry, I need to run a different version for this to work. Just bear with me. So this is a Quadrant system, RenFab, and you can see I logged in the production environment, and there is no testing environment here. Now let's create a new minor version. And put it under test. And we can see that when I log into the RenFab application using test mode, no initial data. Forget about that. Things never go according to plan, do they? It's taking too long. Oh, it's done. So if we this is the initialization screen, which means the system is not initialized, there is no data here. Now let's export the configuration, export the data. And here we can select which business space will be exported, then whether export production data or test data, whether to export all objects or just selected objects. So here we will export the production data and we'll specify this file. That's how many records it exported. So now we can import the data and again we select RenFab. And we specify the file to import. That's the one. And we will import to test data. There we also have the certain options, how to commit transactions after every table or at the end of the data or after every record, whether to import all objects or selected ones, and how to treat errors, and then whether to delete existing data or to add to the existing data. So I'll take the default values. That's 500,000 records here. Okay, and now we go back to the system and refresh. And here we go. All the data from production is now in the testing environment. Now, this feature, let's try to import into this business space, for example, which has nothing to do with the RenFab. Let's see what happens. So I will import data into the test one environment to the production, and we can this test one business space has nothing to do with the RenFab. So if we try to import the data, which is a RenFab data, into some arbitrary business space, we have so many problems. You can see all the problems that the system discovered, because clearly the data structure of the target system is very different from the imported system. That's why we have so many errors. And for many of them, some of them you can ignore, but for most of them, you have to provide a resolution. And the resolution can be do not import. So, yeah, like I said, you can do it. You can do file export and import to from different database engines, as long as the data structure is the same in both environments. And so you have to deploy the same BSV into both environments, and then export and import will work. Now this is really a handy feature, and we have been using this feature a lot in our applications as well. It's a very, very handy one. The next one is a feature that some people asked us about, and it's being able to import a schema from JSON files. So in other words, if you have a JSON file, you should be able to import this file, and then the system would create business objects based on the structure of the JSON file. And if there are any conflicts, it will resolve. So let's see. Let's import the schema in this business space. So you have to click on the business objects and then select add from JSON schema. So I will find some JSON files here. This one, for example. And the system displays the diagram of the structure of the file. I can show you the file itself. And those of you familiar with JSON. So this is a really relatively simple structure of the JSON file, and that's what RAM creates for it. You can accept the entire thing, or you can delete particular objects, and this object will not be imported. Now we have something in red here, which indicates a conflict. And the conflict is that the attribute client in root is reserved for system use. Yeah, so some of the JSON files may clash with the naming conventions of RAM, and therefore RAM automatically detects the conflicts and allows you to resolve the conflict. So here we have the entire list of the invalid names, just one. So let me call it client or something like that. Yeah, it's happy. And if we click OK, then all these objects should appear in the configuration. Okay, the next feature native mobile applications. With native mobile applications, what happens is that the version 9.0 is completely broken because the browsers got a lot stricter, and they have very strict requirements for cookies, for cross-origin requests, and unfortunately native mobile applications have been the victims of this security tightening by different browsers. So you won't be able to run native mobile applications in version 9. You will be getting the timeout exceptions. So in version 10, we have revamped almost completely this feature. It's still using Monaco, but a lot of things have been changed. We found the solution to all these problems with session timeout, and it's really technical, but it can be done. And also, we have done a lot around push notifications in mobile native applications. So you can push notifications have been redesigned so that people can subscribe to topics, send messages to individual phones, and I can't show you the phone, but I'll show you some of the things that have been incorporated in the CRM sample application. So with push notifications, there's this dialog here, and this dialog has been redesigned. In order to use push notifications, you have to enter the values here, because this is a Fire-based cloud messaging system, and it has particular requirements, and you have to define the settings here. So once you do that, when you run the native application in ORM, the phone will be automatically registered and for push notifications, and you'll be able to see the list of mobile phones. Like here, in this query, we can see all the mobile phones that have been registered. And they are registered when you run the application for the first time. Now, once you have a list of phones, you can, for example, send notification to a particular phone. This button here will send a notification. You can also, this is topics, you can manage topics, and you can define the topics that the mobile phones will be subscribing to. And then you can broadcast a particular message to all subscribers, and this is done by this operation here, which broadcasts the topic message to all the subscribers. And on the phone side, imagine you are working with mobile phones, and this is what you see on the phone. You can subscribe. This button here will either subscribe to a particular topic or unsubscribe to the topic. Here we have the list of topics. And once the phone is subscribed to a topic, when the phone receives a notification, they can register this notification. This notification is sent to the server so that you can, for example, register a notification by providing rules for the notification receive event. So this particular rule finds a mobile phone that has received the notification, and then it creates a push notification object. Then it registers itself it registers the notification with the mobile phone. Okay, so yeah, it's a complete revamp of the of the mobile native application feature. Moving on. By the way, feel free to ask questions if something is not clear. So yeah, the config tool settings is another feature which is fairly handy as well. You can go to settings and you can define some of the properties that have been previously defined in the UI config.property files. So no longer do you have to fiddle with this file. You can just specify the parameters of the configuration tool connection here. Windows installer. The installer for Windows, unfortunately not for Linux or Mac, has been quite dramatically changed. It will no longer overwrite your values. You probably know that the current version, if you have some custom values, some of them get overwritten. For example, memory settings, database settings, other things can be lost if you use the current installation. And you have to then fix the installation manually, which is a huge pain. And with version 10, the Windows installer has become much more intelligent, and it should never ever touch the custom things that you have. Version 10 has integration with Font Awesome version 6. For Font Awesome version 6, they introduced quite a few features to their fonts, much more fonts, and they have duotone fonts as well. So I'll show you. So if I go to icon here, we can pick the font, and you can see there's quite a lot of them. This is Pro font, by the way. And let's pick some duotone. We can now use pick symbol with a search. See how many users it has? And let's pick an icon, and now you can change its color right here, or you can even provide animation. You can see it here. Moving on. Yeah, the artificial intelligence. So I believe Kodrin already showed you what we call a data maestro. We have 3 different integrations with AI. They are all in alpha version now. There's a lot more testing that needs to be done, and probably a lot more training. So we have an aware aim assistant, which knows everything about the configuration tool and can be used rather than instead of the online documentation. But not only that, it's much more intelligent than online documentation and can recommend solutions and even build a carcass of an application. And hopefully the next stage will be it will be able to configure entire aware aim applications. That's the idea, that's the goal. Plugin Guru, yeah, that's a good one. This plugin Guru is a bot that can write plugins in Java for aware aim, specifically for aware aim. And at the moment, the Java plugins are only used for custom functions or custom processes. Those of you who worked with plugins and aware aim know that processes can be implemented, not rules, but by Java code. And you can also add functions to aware aim rules. Aware aim includes quite a number of functions, but if you want, you can add the code, add your own function. And now this plugin Guru can do it automatically, and I'll show it to you in a minute. So it's still early days, but hopefully that one of these days it will be able to write plugins not only for the backend or for Java plugins, but for the UI as well. This is a little bit more difficult than Java because all the models, LLMs, they know how to work with Java. You don't need to train them. But can the UI and jQuery, they probably have trained in jQuery, but I'm not sure about can the UI. So this remains to be seen. And the Data Maestro one, that's a real beauty. That's the one that Corin showed to you. So yes, basically there's user-defined queries in aware aim and user-defined processes. And those of you who are not familiar with this feature, I recommend that you look at them. They are extremely helpful when end users need to define their own queries or even processes. But this Data Maestro bot that we have developed is much better. But let me show you. Actually, sorry, I'll run the official version again. So bear with me for a second. I'm switching between the development environment and the actual version. So let's run the latest version again. And did you talk about the configuration work for the Data plugin?
I spoke about all three.
I don't know if Corin can hear me.
Yeah, I showed all three implementations.
You showed all three?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So then I will just, so the This one is a Warren assistant. It has the previous reply, and you can obviously here we go. Kodin, did you show all the deployment of the
Yeah, I did the
plugin?
plugin deployment, automatic deployment, and
Oh,
call deliver processes.
okay, all right. So then I won't repeat it then.
I think that people would have questions about it to address to you.
Okay, okay. Then I'm not going to be showing this this to you, and then we'll move on. Yeah, there were quite a few smaller improvements in the version, like this one, for example. You know that in the toolbar, when you have a form and it has a toolbar, some of the operations can be placed automatically on the overflow button for the toolbar. Now you can control. Previously it was done automatically by ChemDUI, but now you can control whether certain operations will be automatically placed on the overflow button, or never placed on the overflow button, or always placed on the overflow button. Users who are using Mac OS, I know Sean is one, should be pleased with some of the fixes, changes that we have introduced for Mac. There are dials have been cleaned up. The dark theme is properly supported, and the screen redraw is much better. So it's much more workable now, the version from Mac OS. The installer, unfortunately, is still the same, but we're working on it. You can display registered plugins if Hodrian showed it to you. Then I think he showed this already, but just in case, you can see which plugins are registered by running this dialog here. Okay. There is an ability to copy paste columns in standard queries and columns in Kanban queries, and much more, which is this big list of things that we have done in this version. The bugs alone, there's quite a few. And little improvements, there's a lot of those. And the new features, which I talked about already. So I guess that's version 10. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. No questions?
So Vlad, most of the questions were already fired at Codrin when he took the session, so you're really
Okay, that's good.
just
Yeah, let's work on it.
just one question that I had was, is there a plan wherein going forward the AI assistant would actually become aware of the objects that are there in within the business space and would be able to interact with them? Maybe add some attributes, add new objects to it based on the prompts.
Sorry, what was the start of the question? Ashton?
So I just wanted to ask whether is it in pipeline that the AI assistant would be able to actually interact with the BSV, maybe create objects, update those objects based on the prompts.
Well, yes, that's very much the next stage. We want ultimately to get the AI to develop complete applications for LRM. That may sound like a crazy idea, but these LLMs, they keep improving at a breathtaking speed, and you never know what's going to happen just in a few years' time. Already, if you export XML, export your BSV into XML, and then load it into a model, you will find some amazing results. So it's probably a matter of training the models to work with different varying applications. So if anyone wants to contribute their BSVs to be used as a training material for the LLMs, then they are very welcome to do that. And we will obviously be feeding the LLM with the BSVs that we have, our own and those that we have developed. So yeah, it's very exciting, and the next version, hopefully, after 10, 11 or whatever it is, will hopefully have this integration.
Vlad, this is Manoj. My question is not related to AI or anything. Just wanted to check, like in your roadmap for next versions, is there any element which can make configuration tool as web rather than desktop? Like, I have hosted an application on cloud, and if I want to change anything rather than coming back to my local environment, making the changes, I can do it online. I know that we can import the BSV online, but my ask is making the entire configuration tool available on web. Is there something about this?
That's a very good question, and I know where it's coming from, and a few people raised this question actually. Problem is that there's probably a few $100 in the configuration tool. That alone, to port them to web, is a huge job. So maybe one of these days we'll be adventurous enough to take it on. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. If there were a technology that automatically converted SWT library that we use for the configuration tool into HTML, CSS, all that JavaScript, then we could have done it in a month or two. But we're not aware of this technology. We have looked at it, but nothing seems to exist there. So that means that we have to rewrite everything by hand. And that's a really huge job. But like I said, maybe one of these days we'll take it on. I mean, if more and more people will raise the issue, then we'll have to buy the bullet.
Thanks, Vlad. Another question that I had was about the export and import data feature we first talked about. So I just want, while I understand that would be a given, but just wanted to reassure, will it take care of the referential integrities while importing and exporting objects? Like, will it allow the user to actually make mistake wherein if I have a referenced object which I do not import or do not export, will it still honor that, or will it have problems?
No, not at the moment. At the moment, if you choose to ignore a particular object, then it's up to you to make sure that you can do that without violating certain relationships. But maybe we can do it automatically to help you do that. But for all intents and purposes, I mean, you would probably want the whole lot to transfer. The only question you have to ask yourself whether to add to the existing data or to replace the existing data. And I haven't shown you the adding mode when you add to the existing data. It's fairly clever as well because there are conflicts, like which system settings object to use in the target configuration or in the source configuration, things like that. So that's only when you add it to the existing data.
And does it also take care of incrementing the IDs?
Yes, very much. The feature would be worthless if it didn't do that. Yeah, of course it does.
And in the reference, like the ref tables as well.
Yes, the whole process is not driven by ORM. It's purely a database operation, almost purely a database operation.
Just as a supplement to Ashu's question, does this import of production data into the test environment, would it allow some sort of masking capabilities for certain tables as well?
Will it require what?
The data masking capabilities. So,
Masking.
So for example, let's just say in production I may have users' data including their name, mobile numbers, email IDs and everything, right? And let's just say I want to move it into a test environment, but I want to make sure that I mask their phone numbers and their email IDs. So in the test environment, the real numbers and the real emails doesn't go. So does the current implementation have that feature? If not, is there any plan to have such a feature in future versions?
There are no plans to do that at the moment, but we will think about adding it in the next version.
Thanks,
Yes, this feature actually it's very useful when you want to, for example, there are many data-related problems that, for example, a bug is triggered by a particular data configuration. It only manifests itself when with a certain data, and quite often, if you have this situation, quite often you just need to get the data from the customer in order to test the system using this data, because otherwise you won't be able to reproduce the problem. So with this feature, it makes it so much easier to do that, because previously you had to deal with this manually. You had to use database to export the data, and then you had to do something with IDs, and now it's just, it's so simple and it's so handy. I mean, we've been working with Codrin on his application, and he was having exactly this situation when the problem could be reproduced with his data, but not with what I had. So all I had to do was just use this export-import, 5 minutes, and the problem was reproduced immediately and fixed. So if you're dealing with your customers, it can be very important it could save you a lot of time if your customer has problems.
Thanks, Vlad.
I have like covering here. I'm not sure why they shy away right now, because maybe intimidate or something, but when I did the presentation, one of the questions that popped up was what pricing model, if you have any idea about how you're going to distribute AI functionality. So yeah, that popped up, so maybe you have some thoughts.
Yeah, I guess it's more a question to Sean, but when you use the tools, artificial intelligence tools, they usually, the ones that we use, they charge for their services and they charge for LLM, which is separate. So obviously, we will have to, this is being decided at the moment, so nothing is in concrete. But obviously this will become some kind of subscription-based feature where you would obviously have to pay for the expenses that we incur by using these tools. So at the moment it's still up in the air, but it's going to be some kind of subscription model. Now, very possibly different for the data assistant and the configuration assistant or plugin assistant. With the data assistant, you can probably offload some of the costs to your customers and get them to pay for it. But like I said, it's still being debated. Anything else?
I suppose we are all stunned. Yeah, when is it going to come out?
Oh, sorry?
Our release date.
What's the question?
The release date for version 10.
Tentatively, it's going to be 15th of April, or around that time.
That's good.
Wonderful. Thanks, Vlad, for your time. It was amazing insights for version 10, and we all are looking forward to it.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, really happy to see you. There's another session tomorrow, right? Question and answers.
Yes, Vlad.
Okay. Also, see you tomorrow then.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, bye.